This is the 2024 Hyundai IONIQ 5. It's the SEL trim level, and in today's Vehicle Visionary video, I'm going to give you the information to answer the question, is it worth your consideration? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. I borrowed this Hyundai IONIQ 5 from my friends at Mike Morgan Hyundai here in Shreveport, Louisiana. If you happen to be interested in this model or anything else they have in inventory, check out the link down in the description of the video. The exterior color on this model is Abyss Black. It has a black interior, a comfortable ride quality. And if you have the dual motor setup, which this one does have, you can expect enjoyable acceleration, actually very quick acceleration. You will also find a simple to learn and simple to use user interface. And for 2024, there are a couple of changes to tell you about. Number one, on the limited trim level, there is the digital rear view mirror. You will also find rear side airbags and improvements to the seat belts for the rear seats. As we take a look around here, one of the most common things that any EV must deal with is the best aerodynamics possible. That's why some of the wheels on some of these EVs look the way they do. LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, and right down here, not exactly, but similar to active grille shutters, as you do have the shutters that do open and close right here. When you start the vehicle, you'll notice they open right here. I'll show you what those look like in just a little while. But as you can see, overall, a very nice look as far as the body lines go. Now, here's something interesting. Depending on a person's age, they might say, that's a little dated, maybe from the 1990s. But you have a pinstripe right here, kind of interesting. And let's talk about tire and wheel setup here. Obviously, this model is all-wheel drive. The width on these tires, 235. Quite a bit of tread on the ground, that's good. You will have a 55 series sidewall. And let's move around here and get a good look at the 19-inch wheels. Going back to what I said earlier, what are your thoughts on the wheel design here? But the reason for this design is not to try and look modern so much as it is to help with that important aerodynamic need to keep the battery at its best charge capacity possible. Adjustable side view mirrors here, manually folding. They are power adjustable, I should say, and you can actually fold them two different ways. That's nothing unusual. Turn signal indicators built in. You will find the body colored mirror caps, and they are heated as well. And as we take a look over the top of the vehicle, now this model does not have a sunroof, not necessarily a bad thing. You will find the body color basically everywhere with the shark fin antenna, with the rear roof spoiler, and this is intentionally designed, and while it does look pretty neat, the design is intentional to again improve the aerodynamics. Now you'll find that you don't have a rear window wiper right here. Don't really know that that is necessarily needed. We don't even have one up here in this area, so that may be a little bit of a surprise to some people. What do you think about that? LED taillights will finish things off back here. A very clean look, the IONIQ 5 logo. And as far as colors go, what do you think? You don't really find a lot of gloss black here, but I think that's good, at least with this particular color, Abyss Black. Everything else that we have seems to match very well. And you will notice that the door handles pop out when you unlock the vehicle. You know why already, I pretty much told you that, but if for some reason the battery were to die and you needed to gain access to the vehicle, you do have a key within your remote, which by the way, here is the remote. You can see what all is here. Yes, there is remote start, and you can open the rear cargo area right here. But obviously the key that is located within the remote itself can be used right there to open the interior. And just so you can see how things look when those door handles fold in right there. In fact, we'll move over here to the side where the sun is shining just to make that a little bit easier to see. Those will pop back out, and depending on Whether you go with a single motor or dual electric motor setup will determine your horsepower and torque numbers. And depending on whether you go with the single motor setup or the dual motor setup, as we have here today, will determine your horsepower numbers. Single motor, 225 horsepower, 258 on the torque. If you go with the dual motor, those numbers jump up. 320 horsepower and 446 pounds-feet of torque. You will find the shift-by-wire setup for the transmission. And right here, as we look under the hood, obviously no motor here, anything like that, but you can see you do have a little bit of storage space right here. You could probably put some items here to clean the vehicle or something along those lines. Obviously, you can put your windshield washer fluid in right here. That's easy to deal with. How about charge times? Charge times are actually impressive. We're looking at going from 10% to 80% in 18 minutes. That's not too bad. And you'll notice the charge port here on the right-hand side of the vehicle. I did use the remote to open the door right here, but you can also come and just touch that right there. And obviously, you can use a couple of different types of charger depending on what you need to do, or what you have available, I should say. No big deal there. And as far as this model goes with the dual electric motors, how about the MPGs? 110 miles city, 88 miles highway, and 99 combined, 34 kilowatt hours per every 100 miles driven. And we'll also use the remote to open the rear cargo area. And you notice that is power. Now, one thing you might notice is that doesn't open very high. Well, that's easy to fix. Just going to show you what's here. So we're going to push that all the way up to its highest opening, and then we'll hold down the button and listen for the beeps. So now I'm going to close that, and this is a good time to tell you about something you probably know about, which is the fact that obviously you don't have a spare tire here. Do have the tire repair kit, typical setup for an EV. What do you think about that? Would you like to have a spare tire available for your EV? Most people, I think, likely would. You do have some cargo area lighting. There is a 12-volt power outlet back here, and the floor can be fully removed right here. I'm not going to move that all the way out of the way, but you do have some space underneath. Now, most people are going to give you cargo capacity in cubic feet. I'm going to make it a little more realistic for you. I'm going to give it to you in inches. The width is going to be two different numbers. At its widest opening here in the top area, 47 inches. We'll drop down to 41 inches in this lower area, and the height from the floor to this area, the roof line, is going to be 29 inches. And width, when we measure it from the fender wells inside of this area, that's going to be 41 inches and then 49 inches in this area, because I know people are going to ask about that. And about 38.5 inches from where the rear door closes to the back of the rear seats in the upright position, and 73 inches with the seat backs folded completely flat, or as flat as they go. And let's see what your rear seat passengers will find. It looks like the armrest is pretty comfortable, but you know what? That's plastic. So, not sure how long that would be comfortable. It doesn't feel terrible when I put my arm up there, but that should be padded, at least in my personal opinion. You will find a nice sized door bin for this size of vehicle, plenty of room there. And one of the most common questions I receive is, are the rear seats reclinable? As you can see, yes, they do have quite a nice recline built into them. And you will find a singular storage pocket back here, if you want to call it that, more of a net material than anything else. And we will find two USB options back here, a little bit of space underneath right there, actually quite a bit of space. Now, you won't find rear air conditioning vents back here. I don't know that that's that big of a deal in an interior of this size, but tell me what your thoughts are. And no sunroof. But for me personally, that's not a big deal. I prefer a vehicle with no sunroof, but again, what are your thoughts? And for those who are saying, you know what, Tom, I'm really not interested in a Tesla. There's really nothing that interests me besides the IONIQ 5. What would it cost me if I came into Mike Morgan Hyundai and bought this model that you're showing us today? $52,499. $450. Let's see what else you get for the price. Now, will you find the same setup here with the door panels on the front? No, you won't actually. You'll find a comfortable armrest that actually has some padding built into it, a larger door bin, and some nice styling. You will not find a power passenger seat, however, but a nice look. The seats are comfortable, at least based on my experience, and a nice look across the dash. You'll see some of that trim work that we see right here flowing its way across onto the dash area. And let's see, how much space do we have inside of the glove box? Actually, that goes way back in there. There's a lot more space in there than you might think. And the way this space is laid out here in the front seat area is rather interesting. We will find a 12-volt power outlet right there, some space in there, quite a bit, and a USB port right there. We'll also find the cup holders right here, and wireless charging is going to be right down there, and you can see a few more connectivity options and a floating console here. Now, there's not a lot of space within the center console. However, you can move that area up and out of the way, and there is a lot of space down here, so it acts like a console of sorts. It's just not enclosed. Tell me what your thoughts are on that particular subject. Always curious to know. And speaking of consoles, let's look at the upper console just to show you what all is here as far as features and functionality, what you can expect to find. And here on the driver's side door, you can see that there's a sticker there telling me not to roll the windows down, but I think you know what's underneath. Pretty easy to figure out. Controls for the windows, side view mirrors, all that normal stuff is there. And here we can find a few one-touch buttons for different features on the vehicle. If you want to adjust the position of your tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel, there is the lever to do that. And the steering wheel, a little bit of a unique look, especially with the horn button right here. Flat bottom, and we'll reach over here and hit our push button start. And there are your steering wheel mounted controls, everything illuminated now. And you also have multiple driving modes. Now, that is not actually a dial. It looks like it would be, but it's just a button. So we push the button, we go into sport mode. You obviously have normal where it starts, and eco mode. So that's going to make some changes to what you see on the dashboard as far as its overall design on the driver's display right there. Simple to use, that's for sure. I think you could use the hunt and peck method and figure this vehicle out very well on your own. Now, you do have the control right here for your lighting on the vehicle, the front and rear lights, and obviously over here you control your windshield wipers. And here on the center screen, a very nice look here. In fact, I do like the fact that it's at a 90-degree angle, and especially without a sunroof, you're not going to have issues with glare as you would if it was something that was angled back, as you see in some vehicles. Very easy to use. You have everything you expect to see here as far as navigation and all of that. You can go into a lot of different areas of the vehicle and see what's going on, see what your range is, and all that good stuff. Easy, easy, easy to deal with. And you do have a backup camera. We'll go into reverse and show that. And over there on the right-hand side, you also have parking sensors. That's what that's going to indicate for you right there. You have your trajectory lines. And here with the shifter, nothing out of the ordinary for Hyundai. You have this area that you twist. Going to drive, we're going to twist that forward and then twist it back to go into neutral. And your air conditioning system here, dual zone climate control, easy to deal with. Everything here easy, simple. I don't need to really tell you about that, but you do have some one-touch buttons here as well. So if you wanted to go to your map, for example, that is built in to the infotainment screen, well, you could easily do that. And then you can go to navigation right here that allows you to see what it is you need to see right there. You can set up your favorites, home, work, different favorites. There are a couple of different options where that is concerned. You have media as well, so depending on what you need to do, you can do that. A really simple system, I think, in my personal opinion. And you even have an old-fashioned, in an EV, old-fashioned kind of old-school knob for managing the radio, turning that on and off, and changing the volume. And just a real quick look around the interior in the dark, just to give you an idea of how things look. And it's kind of hard to tell with the headlights on. There's the low beams, there's the high beams. And we'll step outside real quick just to show you how everything looks. Because I know a lot of you like seeing this. There are your turn signal indicators built into the side view mirrors doing their thing. A little bit easier to see as opposed to what we would normally see in the bright Louisiana sunshine. But I tell you what, I'm glad that it is nice and bright, sunny outside today. We'll finish things up here with a quick walk around to the rear and take a look at these LED tail lights. And there you go. All right, we're gonna head out on the road for a quick test drive with the IONIQ 5. It is fun to drive, it handles well, the steering wheel is comfortable, and depending on the driving mode you're in, well, you can definitely feel the difference. When I went from normal to sport while in motion, just pushing that button down there, the drive mode selector that I told you about or showed you earlier in the video, well, that actually did a really good job of showing me the difference. Now I'm going to slow down just a little bit here to the sweet spot. Not too bad. It's not going to be as high performance as some vehicles out there, even though it has a reasonable amount of horsepower. There are some out there that definitely have more. One thing about it that I've discovered, not only from my own experiences of driving EVs over the course of the last few years, but even a friend who's owned a few now, he said that after the first one he had, which was actually an EV6 GT, I have a video on that if you want to check that out. It was a lot of fun, the Kia EV6 GT. He said once he stepped on it a few times, he got that out of his system, no big deal. So I don't think that's something you have to worry about too much. Plus, that is not the best thing for your charge capacity. So, just something to think about. But I tell you what, it is a fun car to drive. It's comfortable. The seats themselves seem to be comfortable here. Now, I didn't talk about this earlier in the video. You do have a power adjustable driver's seat. You don't have a power adjustable passenger seat, but you do have the power adjustable driver's seat. What is the perfect driving distance as far as the range for an EV? Okay, tell me what you think. Is the 2024 Hyundai IONIQ 5 SEL with a dual motor setup worth your consideration? I tried to show you the main high points here of what this model has in the video. Tell me what your thoughts are, and don't forget, if you're interested in buying this model or something else at Mike Morgan Hyundai, check out the link in the description of the video. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends at the dealership for loaning me this model for the day, and a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. If you haven't subscribed to the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel just yet, please consider doing so. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.